Monday. So my friend took the day off so he could hang out, and that was cool. So we got to see more things. There was no real itinerary, so it was an opportunity to sleep in. But I don't know, I was getting so much sleep that even at 9 o'clock, I'm like, all right, I'm rested enough. I can get up and enjoy more of New Orleans, Louisiana. So we drove out to this area, kind of like on the water, and again, no crocodiles or alligators, but I did see the stilted homes, which were really impressive. They're just very, very nice homes, almost mansions, but they're built like 20 feet up because of the water, the hurricanes, and all the flooding. It's just an odd thing to see so many homes like way above the ground. Just something you just don't see that out here in California. But they're definitely there. I guess they got to be that way for insurance purposes and just like, yeah, to keep your belongings safe. So the bottom is like parking for cars and boats, and then the top level is a nice home. I think some people use facades where because it does make for a very odd look when you got a home like that. And I just think they probably have elevators, but lots of stairs every time you want to leave your house or come back, and you got to move things in there. It just seems, it's a necessity, but it's a pretty wild one. But coming back, my friend decided, let's go to a swamp tour. I had never had one before, or taken one before, and they're pretty amazing. I had no idea what to expect. But you drive up there, and the price is really, really reasonable. A good price, I think it was like $30, $35. Well, you wait, you get an armband, and the ladies were saying at the desk, well, not sure if you'll see any alligators, but we think so. And then when the tour guide, the boat driver, came up, he's like, oh, yeah, you're definitely seeing alligators, many alligators. And he was not mistaken. So the weather was actually really nice for something like this. It was very comfortable, even t-shirt weather. Had no problems with the weather, but I could easily see how it could become very, very hot and uncomfortable and humid in the summer. So this was a good time to do it. But if you wait too long and go into the winter, you're not going to see any alligators at all because they're burying themselves to stay warm. However, yeah, within 5 minutes, we already saw our first alligator, a pretty big one. So that was cool. My first live gator. I had no idea what to expect, but it's just kind of an interesting thing being out in the water. You're kind of protected because you're in the boat, and they're not really eating much this time of year. They have to kind of reduce their eating so their stomachs are empty when they kind of go into brumation. But it's still a little like odd when they come swimming up towards the boat. It's just kind of a weird thing to have. There are quite a few animals out there in these swamps. I think birds for the main part. You'd see lots and lots of birds, herons and egrets, and one that I can't remember the name of, but a very, very common bird out there. Then you get to see wild pigs out there as well, so that was kind of an interesting thing. Not something I'm familiar with how many wild pigs are out there, but I never really see them. And then when you turn down into the smaller swamp areas, it looks like something straight out of a movie, what you see out there. It's pretty cool. It's just almost indescribable, but that's why I take photos and video. Raccoons are everywhere. Yeah, the raccoons, they stick in their little packs for a lot of the time, and they feed them out there, which people could say, it messes up the ecosystem a little, but I don't think so. I mean, maybe locally, they might depend on it to some degree, but they're pretty... I don't know. Or even in cities, they're always getting into food anyway, so they're gonna take what food they can get. And there's no social media for raccoons. It's not like they call up the other raccoons in the entire world and just say you don't have to work anymore. So I don't think it messes up anything at a high level. But they are fun to watch. They're really really incredible animals, like trash pandas, people call them, but I think they're pretty cool when they're not in your own garbage. A notable thing is I saw these lots of mollusks out there, and clams and shells, and I kind of asked the tour guide about that, and he said, yeah, birds will try to peck them open, or get their beak in there, like tip it on its side, peck them, and then open it up, and to get the meat inside out, which is interesting because later on the way back, we actually saw an example of that. A bird was sitting there trying to move it one open and peck it. So it was like, almost like I was paid to do that, but I had no idea. But I tell you, it turned out to be pretty cool because he probably would have pointed it out on the way back, but I just asked the question early. Another very interesting thing was one alligator, like kind of putting its snout, whatever, on top of a turtle, and there's another, they're all in the same log, and just everyone, peacefully coexisting there. Because again, it wasn't the time of year where they're going to be eating, but he said, another time of year, there would have been dinner for it, but now everyone kind of gets along because alligators, kind of the apex predators out there, are not hungry, so these little guys are safe for now, but they probably get used to that, and later on they try the same thing and then they get eaten. So overall, a very remarkable tour. I highly recommend it to anyone to at least do it once, because it's just fascinating. Just see all the nature out there and the way it works on the river, and the wildlife, and yeah, just the fauna, flora, whatever, the trees and bushes and all that stuff is just really impressive. Just great. It would have been a good time to have a high-power zoom camera, a DSLR, which I used to have, but the iPhone did great for just your basic photos, but when you have to zoom in, and the 5X helps a lot, but it's not going to match the power of just a really good lens on a really good camera. After that, was heading back to the house, pick up Tanya again, and then just kind of go out and look for eagles, actually, because I'd seen one eagle early in the day, but we kind of drove along, watched the sunset, lots of birds, but no eagles. Maybe some gators, like small ones, but at that point I kind of had my fill of gators, so it wasn't as pertinent to see one, but it was still kind of fun. A really nice, beautiful drive, and then headed back there, and since it was Monday night, we got Monday Night Football, so another football game to watch.